Eastern Europe and Russia, to Western Europe, to the United States, and many countries in between. Over the centuries since its creation, it has become known as a graceful, peaceful, stunning performance art that has always been calm and very enjoyable to many audiences around the world. That's not what happened on this day in 1913, though. May 29th, 1913, an audience in Paris, France gathers to watch the premiere of Igor Stravinsky's The Rite of Spring. Now, this audience and the audiences of the time were used to things like Swan Lake and Sleeping Beauty, other classics. And that's not what they got at all in this. They got a completely new type of ballet that they hated. Packaged in one performance was pagan themes never seen before in the ballet, new music, and new choreography. Audience didn't like it, to say the least. Now, there's a manual for us today for how to criticize art. You know, you write a review or a critique, or you give feedback to the artists themselves verbally, politely, constructively. This manual went out the window very early on in the performance. Boos were started to be heard, and after that, the audience literally started to throw whatever they could find. Not just the tomatoes that you see being chucked at stand-up comedians, but anything they could find. Now, this treatment of his performers and his personal art enraged Igor Stravinsky to the point that he had enough of it. He's like, nope, not taking this. I'm leaving. And they left. But he didn't leave. He just walked off stage. Later he would go on to write, I'd never been angrier than that moment. He was very angry with how he was being treated. Now, the audience was slowly getting worse. And by slowly, I mean very quickly. So there was a small portion of the audience that said, bravo, this is amazing. And most of the audience didn't share the sentiment. In fact, they said, you're dumb for thinking that it's good, so we're gonna fight you to prove we're right. So what happened? A brawl happened between the two sets of audience members. The police were called, and they had to break up the riot, which they did successfully at first. Now, the first act came to an end, and everything was calm. Tension was still high, but the riot was over for now. Now, the second act began, and then the brawl resumed, and the police were once again needed, and basically it was a repeat of the first act, except without Igor Stravinsky on stage. So the performance ended somehow. They completed it. Don't know how. Great credit to the performers who were able to finish a world premiere while there was a brawl going on in the audience. And so then it came to the critics, the people who write reviews the correct way. And most of them said it was barbaric or shamed Stravinsky for what he did or associating himself with this kind of ballet. Now, there were a small amount of critics that said, I think that this is a very, very interesting piece of ballet that could be good in the future, and I think we just need to welcome this as the new norm. And these critics would turn out to be correct. And so it would go on to be a very well-known piece of ballet. And it just shows you, if you don't like it, that's okay. Just don't fight people over it. And that's what happened on this day in history.